We are here with part two, the cast of Lil Detectives, a dish best served cold. We want to thank Chad, Shelby, Tristan, D, and we also want to thank our host Joe, who's back, doing double duty, hosting, and who was a cast member in the film. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you coming on.
Little Detectives officially has Little Detectives, a dish best served cold, as well as all 4 films in the franchise officially have a release date. The Boyertown State Theater, November 16th, Sunday, 4 p.m. Is that correct?
It's a beautiful local theater, historic theater in Boyertown. We had our premiere for the 3rd film there years ago, but yeah, now we're gonna run all 4 together and premiere the latest one.
You gotta call it vintage, not historic.
I agree.
Historic feels old.
Tell us a little bit about it, Chad. Tell us, do you know anything about the history? How long it's been there? Let us know about the theater.
It's absolutely been there a very, very long time. It's run by a beautiful group of people. They're very nice. Obviously, they're allowing us to have our opening there. You can drink there, by the way, so that's always a plus.
Nice.
You might need it for the film. Yeah, but it's been there. It's been there since 1912. In the history of actual cinema, back in the day, in cities there was cinema in every street corner, and they were locally owned, right? So movies weren't like these big multiplexes that Tristan works at. They were local, just local places where the films would actually travel, right? So like, they would leave California and then get to New York. It would actually go kind of on tour, right? Like a rock band would do a tour of the film. Right. And even one of the funniest, at least to me, one of the funniest cinema things was way back in the day, the very first nude scene ever in the film started in California, but by the time it got to New York, that scene was totally gone because every projector guy would take a little snip of it, one little frame, and then send it to the next thing. So by the time we got to New York, that scene wasn't even in the movie. So it's great to always see that there's still these local places, still doing all the cool stuff.
I actually used to go, when I was a kid, I used to go there and watch the Three Stooges, and I saw movies there. And so they used to play a lot of vintage movies all the time since I was even a kid. And my rock band also played there at one point. So
that's awesome.
It's a highly... Yeah, cool theater.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
I was going to say, it's amazing that they've been able to stay around through COVID, and they have such a long and rich history. That's awesome.
They let you drink there. I mean, that place isn't going to close.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know.
You're lucky I'm not there right now.
Survival.
Yeah.
Survival of the business.
Tristan, now that the 4th one is done, right? There may be more in the series. There may not be. But what's the fondest memory you have if you look back across all 4 films, whether it's from writing and directing or just being in the first couple?
I don't know if I have like just a one memory kind of thing. I think the thing for me was that it was kind of like an excuse to just hang out with my best friend the whole week, the whole day. I definitely know for this one, it's like me and Ethan kind of took a step back because we've gotten so busy with being older. And now we just get to see each other more often. And I really, really, really love that.
Yeah. So, this is the first one you guys were doing as adults, young adults, balancing work and life and school and stuff like that. You guys didn't have that with the first 3. This is a decade in the making, right? From the beginning of the first film until today.
The Genesis started 2014, 15, 16 maybe. I would have to... Do you remember it was the year that you did the Red Corner Benefit with the Wissahickon Boys?
But we didn't play with them at any point until probably about 2015. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so that was, as far as a marker, that's sort of where we were starting to come up with the idea and start doing a little testing with it at that point, yeah.
Time is flying by.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so it has been
10 years later.
It's going to be funny to kind of watch all 4 together, when you're going to see Tristan super, super young. Super young.
With a totally different voice.
With a totally different voice. And, now his Cheech and Chong, coming out thing. So, absolutely. I think it's going to be fun, but it's been amazing.
Have any of us watched all 4 in a row yet?
Not all 4. All 3. But yeah, not all 4.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I've seen them all. Yeah, just not in a...
We're all watching all 4 together for the very first time on November 16th as a group. That's awesome.
Yes. Yep.
How did the budget progress from 1 to 4? Which one was the most expensive, and how much percentage-wise did they increase, would you say?
They would increase a little bit each time. And because we sort of just do this on the side, we never really, fostered like a solid budget for these, where we're like, hey, this is going to be the budget. But we kept increasing how much we spent. Like I said, in the first part, we filmed the first one, but then redid it. And I don't know if Dee even heard this, but we kind of redid it because we were going to use her band's music. And I was nervous that the very first product looked really bad. So I had to actually go buy a brand new camera and we redid it. That was kind of that budget for that. We had to go buy a whole new DSLR camera and stuff. And then actually after the third one got onto Amazon, that's when we were like, okay, let's really spend some money. And we bought a even more expensive camera, the Blackmagic cinema camera, which, then I had to build like a whole editing software. I had to build a whole computer for that because it's an insane bells and whistles thing. So we kept kind of redoing it. So this one, when Tristan wanted, when Tristan gave the script, and it's a very aggressive, long script. It was a very long film, and it was very a lot of moving parts. We spent a ridiculous amount of money, just getting props and getting all of the stuff together. We actually bought the clothes that they wore this time. It wasn't just hey, go in your closet. We're like, hey, let's actually go shopping for clothes. We built a prison in my basement. So we definitely spent a lot more.
I think with like each creative project, you learn a little bit more. So you dive a little bit deeper into that like creative black hole, and it just like, whether you know it or not, you're already sucked in, and you're like, nope, we got to do it better this time. We got to do it like this time.
And it just consumes more money. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, as someone who's in a project that's continually taking all my money, but I love it so much. Take all my money. Go for it.
Well, Dee, let me ask you this. When you perform, right?
Yeah.
You guys create most of your songs that you're performing. When you're performing, you're also watching for reactions and like that energy, right? That surge between people. And his thing is kind of like that too. Like, he gets so nervous when he gets to go to these premieres and things because he's not concerned about what he's seeing. He's looking at how it's being received in the audience. And for him, that's like the most nerve-wracking thing. But I think that also amplifies him next time and gives him the motivation to change and take more risk moving forward.
I think in the creative world, you either get put down by it or it gives you thicker skin and newer ideas, and you always want to be better, and you're always challenging yourselves to do things that are better than what you did before. But no, it is all about the reaction. And you kind of people are reacting to lean a little more into that maybe next time. And you're always constantly tweaking.
But it's interesting you draw that comparison because, Dee, I would imagine if you have a set list and you feel the crowd is going a certain way, you guys are able to change the next song live in real time.
We're the kings and queens of audibles. It is like such a loose, like, it's like guidelines. Like, it's like that Pirates of the Caribbean quote.
Yeah.
It's not like rules. It's more like guidelines.
And believe me, again, plugging away, please go see Chestnut Grove for crying out loud. Do yourself a huge favor because it is true. The live vibe that they bring to the stage is it is loose, but it doesn't feel loose at all. It's literally like you're partying with some friends. It's absolutely not everybody can do that for sure.
I definitely feed off of what the crowd is given. So thanks for noticing. Yeah, come see us.
Last time Chad kind of shared a longer explanation of that, but basically he wanted to give off a great first impression when Chestnut Grove agreed to have the music in the first film. He felt like the quality of the shoot wasn't up to snuff. So they bought brand new equipment and reshot the entire first film. So
yeah, I didn't know that.
What do you think about that, hearing that now for the first time?
I'm glad that you took that as a challenge upon yourself because you were probably happier with the outcome.
Absolutely. Oh, it was way better. It was way, way, way better. Yeah. And I think the more that we do it, the more, we slow it down or do things. This film that we just did, we did very quickly, but we had to for certain reasons, but we were way more organized in how we did it. So yeah, everything you carry forward a little bit.
Yeah, and I think as like a creative person, you almost take it as a challenge to be like, all right, I got to match this energy.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Bravo, well done. I had no idea.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and we couldn't, to be honest, I mean, especially this film, we couldn't do it without everybody that helped out. You guys, Joe D, everybody that was in. And Steve Kurtz is currently doing the score, which I'm sure is going to be mind-blowing.
I'm so excited for
I
that.
can't wait.
Super
I can't wait
mind-blowing.
to music.
Yeah, I mean, you guys everybody knocked it out of the park. Tristan really put together this fantastic script and really got it done. And it is super impressive to me.
I'm so glad there's a fourth one that exists for us to talk about in general. Loving the first three, watching them in real time. It's so great. Whether we're in it or not, it's so great to just have a fourth one to just watch. You know what I mean? Just as a fan. Taking what Dee was explaining about calling an audible in the middle of her set. Your version of that is, do you ever, as you premiere in different various local theaters throughout the tri-state area, do you ever make adjustments to the film in between showings if you do get positive or negative feedback about a particular scene? Does everybody get a slightly different version or no?
No.
Okay.
Not really. I don't think we've ever gone back after the fact. By the time our stuff is viewing, we're usually actually already on to the next project. It's got to spread its wings, right? That's the child that you just created. Now it's got to go off on its own and do its own thing, like without us holding its hand. In most cases, we don't. We're already kind of done. Harvest, which just was released on YouTube. That's been doing the circuit for like a year, film festivals and stuff and viewings. And yeah, we were pretty much done with it. The greatest part, Harvest did actually get to open up for a Rocky Horror Picture Show midnight showing, late showing.
That is cool.
To me, exactly why we made that film. So even to be able to do that, and that was kind of the last live viewing of that piece. But we were working on this piece while that was going on, right? So we were already done with Harvest. As compared to a musician, if they feel the same way, because they can, they're constantly playing their songs, right? When they're playing live, that's what the people want, right? So they're going to play their songs, and they can change it certain ways, but in a way, those songs never die.
Yeah, I think the comparison just isn't quite the same, because with music, you can change things live to change the way people are feeling. With a movie, you're kind of like grabbing an idea and driving that idea home, and like not wanting to get it confused.
Yeah.
You're trying to like really drive your point across, as to where like with a live show, you're kind of like invoking an emotion almost.
Movies are a little different, because obviously it's already done, and we never go into it, like who's gonna even get this, who's gonna even care about this. We're gonna say the right people are gonna get this, and the right people are gonna care about it, right? And that's sort of how we sort of have evolved into what we do.
You wouldn't change anything substantial, but Shelby explained to us last time, like a minor adjustment, a few seconds here or there, the way you edit or cut something or the angle makes all the difference. Those are the kinds of things I was speaking about, not three different endings type of situation.
So, well, the fact on that, right, in that creative space, when you're either a writer of film or an editor, or when you just make the film, you have to put it to bed at some point, because it takes so much of your headspace, and it is so much. I literally obsess. It's absolutely insane. And once you have that cut, we would bring it to Shelby. She would say, maybe a few seconds here or there, but then at some point you have to just say, okay, that's it. We're done. Yeah. This needs to go on the shelf, get its own wings, whatever. Because otherwise, I would still be, not sleeping and being like, oh my God, maybe we can call up D and do another scene and blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
You'd be doing it
That's
forever.
a good point. I didn't think about re-involving the actors. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah, so you have to end it.
Draw the line somewhere. Yeah,
you have to end that relationship in some way.
The premiere is a good time to end it. Tristan, across the series, what's your favorite scene or portion of the script that never made the final cut of whichever film it happens to be a part of?
I don't know if it is in the third one or not. When we're at the park drinking and Ethan completely misses the bottle and spills it all over the table, I don't know if that's actually in the actual scene or not, because that was a complete blooper.
I remember you guys switched from soda to beer really quickly in those bar and park scenes.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the second one where they're both sitting at a by their car and they're singing "We need a hero."
Yes.
And they do the whole song. And it didn't make it into the movie, but it's hilarious. That's what I wish would have stayed in.
Okay.
No, actually, I
need
do
a
have a.
singing one.
Oh, they're not terrible bloopers. They're great.
I strive for the bloopers. I'm like, come on.
I can only remember song lyrics, apparently.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and the
Yes,
F words.
What was the hardest scene to film? What took the longest? What was the most stressful? What was the hardest scene that actually, I mean, that obviously that made it into the film. I'm sure if it wasn't the hardest, it wouldn't have made it in. But what was the most tasking, so to speak?
For me, it was the entirety of the first one, the whole first movie, because they were so young. And to be honest, they didn't even know what, hey, we're going to get this camera, we're going to do this. And they had no effing idea. They're like, okay, fine, whatever. I would say if you're going to direct a film, do not do it with children. It's difficult.
It's the director and creator of the children's series.
Or get twins. Make sure you have a set of twins.
Don't do it. No, because it's just hard. It was just difficult to really for them to understand what they're supposed to actually be doing. All the pre-work is the hard part, right? Where the hell am I going to film this? That's the tough part.
A newfound respect for child actors.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking to myself, like, my actual acting coach in college was in The Sixth Sense, and I'm thinking to myself, how the hell did they have this kid do anything? Because I mean, especially in those types of things, you're talking millions of dollars, you're talking lights, 30, 50 people on set, running cables and doing all this stuff. It's like a little city. And then just to focus on this one little kid is insane to me.
It's absolutely crushing it.
Who crushes it? And my favorite movie of all time is Taxi Driver. How the hell did they get a young Jodie Foster to do any of that stuff in front of 100 people? It blows my mind. And then, that also kind of blew, when you kind of look at how, I guess, psychologically dangerous it is for the children.
That's the other side
as
of
they
it.
grow up. It makes sense, though, because that's a ton of pressure. I couldn't imagine it. I mean, I messed up my son from doing these short films, so I could only imagine a bigger scale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's not a 15-year-old prostitute, so he's, him and
He
Jody.
could be worse.
He's doing good.
He's here
Look at
now.
this fantastic script that he created. So, yeah, go ahead. You got something?
I was just gonna say, for me, the hardest part was definitely this last movie. The whole ending scene, the whole end of the movie was super hard as an actor because I had to portray a certain type of vibe, and that was very, very difficult. The whole outdoor scene.
The outdoors.
You tapped into something you never had to do before. Like you actually had to show emotion and not just be like funny kid and zinging sarcasm. Like you actually had to tap
and
into something wonderful.
Especially with Meatballs next to me, who's also intimidating as himself, was just very hard to do.
Come on, I'm not.
He was a great bad guy. The movies have always been, I feel, about the bad guys. I think the heels of the movie have always been, I think, the driving force, and have always been the cool ones. Sure, the detectives are funny, and it's funny because they're little, but whatever. But I think the adult bad guys have always been the really good parts about Little Detectives, right? Those characters were always, Scooby-Doo-ish, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
A little different.
This most recent film, it's a little more serious. It's a little more darker than the other three, too. It takes itself more serious than the rest of the franchise, for sure.
Yes. And it has
but it still pays homage to the silliness of the first few films, right? So for example,
it does. That's right.
I'm a big fan of the fact that you didn't kind of overthink it. And what I mean by that is, look, you could have went away from the Nerf guns, right, as they grew up. You could have went away from the fun dip, right, as they grew up, and you didn't. And I think that was a great call. Just my opinion. I think I would have been asking about it. I would have been like, well, wait a minute. I mean, I know they're not 35 years old now. They're not transitioning. It's not funny if they transition to methamphetamine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The innocence is kind of required.
Yeah.
And there was a crack pipe,
This is too real.
Tell us a little bit about the unplanned events that took place behind the scenes that changed the course of the film. Whether it was one of the actors gave you an idea and then their character changed, or you couldn't get the location you wanted, so things had to be adjusted because we're in different scenery?
Well, location-wise, absolutely. We loved filming at this one spot where Shelby used to work, and that was the police station.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it looked like a damn police station. It was great. Well lit. It looked like the old school police station type stuff. So,
like cubicles.
but when we went to go this one, it's been 4 or 5 years.
I don't work there anymore.
He doesn't work there anymore. And also that place, they don't even use it anymore, right? Shut down. So we had to find a police station, and that just threw everything off, like for at least a week or two. Apparently borough hall type places never allow you to film in, for whatever reason. So, but then we did find the place, and that turned out to be a fantastic spot where we filmed a bunch of scenes. So little things like that happened, but also like during filming. In fact, in this time, so Dee reprises her role again as Kashmir, and we built this goofy set in my basement, and I apologize that Dee even had to go into my basement. It was a terrible basement to be in.
Felt kind of like a prison.
It was such a great character.
I'm sure it did.
I would say you're lucky I know you, because
Yeah.
hey, come over to my house, film something in my basement.
Come into my
bring a
prison basement.
jumpsuit. Yeah.
It was definitely sus. It was sus, as the kids would say. But she's doing her lines, and we're going through it, and she does just a simple little change to it where she first sees them. I don't know if I think she added like a word, like sort of like well, or like did some little bravado to it, and we lost it. Once we heard that, we were like, holy shit, do that again. That was awesome. And
this is how it should have always been.
I think I was messing around with the bird. I was getting more comfy, but also like frustrated at myself because I can't remember 4 things.
Sentences,
It was absolutely that, that little thing or spark that was just like, there it is, right? That's it. And then, that happens, I think, a lot when we do, Shelby actually came up with a line on her first thing that we did on this film about the Legos. And
it's like a mofo.
Yeah. And those moments make it then into the film, right? Where you're like, yes, there you go. That's it.
So I was just saying the dialogue, the more sinister and ridiculous I felt. So I was like, all right, this is totally how this character is. So you just get comfy and feel that character out a little better.
Yep. Yeah. And I thought it was, I love that. That's actually the best part of doing all of this is
getting ready for the first day of the 4th one. I rewatched all 3, and I forgot like how awesome of a character Kashmir is. Dee, did you know that Kashmir was still alive? What happened when you got the phone call or the text about coming back for 4?
I was definitely a little surprised, but not fully, because at the end of that episode, I'm pretty sure I just walk out of the car and I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, all right, I guess that I'm not really arrested.
Still hanging around somewhere, yeah.
So I was like, I knew my character's kind of still around. So it was very cool to get the call to come back, because I've never really considered myself the acting type. I'm just a goofy, can go with things.
Was it an immediate yes, or were you like...
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, I was like, I got to find time between... We were touring at the time because summer gets pretty busy. So I was like, I'm going to be available probably a little later on if you can wait.
Nice. So through these films, but through all of the films that you guys have been making, over the last decade or so, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned, or what's the biggest takeaway that, like how we were saying, you mature with each one, you get better with each one, so you dive deeper. What do you bring with you into the next film?
I need to slow it down and take my time. I have a problem. I've been a part of so many projects that fell apart at some point, and it was because, you didn't keep it full steam ahead. And so those little things that are itching in the back of your head, there's claws in your head, they never fully go away, but then they're not satisfied because you never actually do the project. Yeah. So I'm sort of left with this junk in my head. And when we do films, I'm 1,000% obsessed. I get that thing in my head, and it's like I have to itch it, I have to get it out or whatever. And I'm usually pretty quick on the draw for that, which then makes it not as good as a product, obviously. So, now during Harvest, we slowed down and actually took, I think, almost a year to complete that whole thing, to really get our shit together. And in this one, we just slowed it down to be more prepared, because there was a lot riding on it, right? We did need to do it fast because we had actors that were going away to college. And, again, Dee is a very busy person. You know, Joe, you're busy. Steve Kurtz is a ridiculously busy person, right? So we knew we had a tight thing, so that made us organize ourselves way better. The current film that we're doing now is going to take a really long time because we're going to let it, really find itself. We're going to let it kind of simmer and not just go. Maybe that will be bad. Maybe that'll be good in this one. I don't know. But I think that's what I've learned is to chill on it a little bit and think things through a bit more.
Let it marinate as opposed to microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know if Tristan learned anything.
No, yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is like the small imperfections are actually what makes the movie perfect to me. So this movie really didn't go as smoothly as I thought it would be, but that's actually, I think, the best thing that happened to this movie is the small imperfections that made the movie what it is now.
You ever hear what FAIL stands for? It's an acronym. First attempt in learning. That's what FAIL is. So it's like anything, right? Like,
yeah, you got to mess it up a couple times for sure.
Fail at something, you mess up a few times. It's that satisfaction of finally completing that goal, right? Completing that, that vision that you had, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Tristan, to Bobby's point, looking back now that it's over, were they imperfections or are you just more familiar now with how the whole process from start to finish should be? Because this is your first time writing and taking a big role behind the scenes, correct?
Yeah.
So did things go really far off the beaten path and were things imperfect, or was it your perception that needed to be adjusted after it was over?
No, yeah, it was definitely the my perception as it was going, because obviously at the beginning, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to get this done, we're going to get this done, and this is going to go smoothly. It's going to be, quick filming like this. We're going to get all our lines on the first try. Obviously, none of that happened. And in turn, I think that made the film better than my first idea of what the movie was going to be.
I think that if it would have come off like polished and refined as maybe you wanted it in your head, it wouldn't work. Not that we've hit the circuit yet, but Little Detectives as a whole has been, slightly imperfect, right? It's kind of irregular, so to say. So for it to be following in that footstep of being its best version yet, I think it is perfect. All those imperfections are perfectly perfect,
Like Dee was saying, it still needs to be silly and they're not children anymore. And Bobby was saying how you keep the Nerf guns, you keep the fun dip, right? So it's darker. It takes itself a little more serious, but not too much, right? I think whether you guys tried or it was just a great coincidence, I think that it has that perfect balance for sure.
And this one, I think we amped up the parody, right? I think we purposely parodied a bunch of different movies, which was kind of different than before, where it was sort of suggested it was a parody. But, this we sort of went, we had more. I wanted to do, oh my goodness, I wanted Joey in the car.
Good fellas,
doing cocaine with doing fun dip with the helicopter going over and Goodfellas. I wanted, that would have been great to be able to film, but we just, I know we couldn't fit that in, but
God,
we amped up the parody.
Looking out the window of the car, like, say it, you say it.
So clearly, we know now who the better Little Detectives writer is in the family.
Wow, shots fired.
Your check's gonna get lost in the mail.
If there were to be a fifth installment in the series, nothing made up, sticking with what's on film from the first four, right? What we're all going to see on November 16th at the Boyertown State Theater at 3:30 p.m. sharp on Sunday. Sticking with that 70 minutes of footage, what thread or theme or part of the four current films would we continue with? What is left untouched? What is left unresolved that could morph itself into the fifth script?
I mean, obviously Tristan would have to write it, but I would think that now that they're older, right, you have to go with Lethal Weapon, bring in the new people, right? Bring in actual new Lil Detectives.
You bring in Joe Pesci and Chris Rock,
and have them sort of on the, on the backside that just sort of need to help out, right? I think that's where it would have to go.
What's Pesci's name? Leo Getz?
Leo Getz.
Yeah, Leo Getz. Leo Getz.
That's a great role for Bobby. I'm just throwing that out there. Would the new Little Detectives be your nieces?
In my dream world, we've talked about that, and it would awesome. It would make sense. I think they're still young. Tristan our oldest right now is 9, and then there's an 8-year-old, and Tristan was right at around that age in a year or so.
And I
Like,
mean, there could be a young Cashmere over at Dee's house right now that could
she's pretty weird.
come out. You know what I mean? It's all family, right? It's all the Little Detectives family. But again, I would go against my my rule of don't do it with children. don't make movies with children.
We
But
can do like we can do a spin-off and call it Little Doctors, and then they have like the operation game, and they're like working on operation.
So
I mean,
that's
there's a lot of different ways to go. To also shamelessly plug D again for Red Corner. Red Corner benefit is coming up the 18th of October.
Nice.
It is absolutely one of the coolest
Events,
live bands. There's camping. It's all absolutely
kids activities.
It's all for a super amazing cause. Once a year, they have one family who's, or one child, with cancer, right? And all of it goes towards that family, right? So it is some amazing people involved, amazing bands. It's a really good time.
Now, and where is it exactly?
Yeah, I'll make sure
give us the venue and give us the town.
It's in Douglasville on Red Corner Road.
Okay.
Hence the name, Red Corner Benefit.
And I'll send you all the stuff for it, Joe.
Yeah, I'll make sure
you can find it all at redcornerbenefit.
And for the love of God, go to Chestnut Grove's website and get their records, which we actually did buy for this movie. So, it's a prop as well. But
I wanted to ask that. Chestnut Grove is going to have music in the 4th. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
One thing that I was really interested about is, so you see now, obviously, throughout this entire series, you have the ability to make things better from the first, different, better, whatever you want to call it. You have the ability to tell a story over a progressed period of time. Are we going to see a different series come out? Is there anything else possibly in the works that you've been thinking about in the back of your head? Are you trying to write maybe a different story in an entirely different world?
As of right now, there's no real series or another big kind of like Little Detectives, big movie like that. But I am also always writing movies and short films right now. I have 3 other scripts that I am currently working on right now that are still trying to get an actual script completed.
Is one about
Bobby
2
makes a good point.
podcast hosts to take over the world?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. I think I'll start writing that one.
There you go. And we are currently slightly in production of what we're filming now, which is called Two Pickin' Dudes. It is a found footage YouTube horror movie, essentially about eBay resellers who YouTube what they do that turn into serial killers, basically. So it's a bloody.
Nice.
We have tubes and we got fake blood, and we're gonna slit some throats on film and stuff. So we're learning how to do all of that. That's why it's going to take a very long. Yeah, it's going to take a while though. It's a tricky practical special effects is very tricky.
Harvest dabbled, right? But this is going to be your first official horror film.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Harvest is a.
Yeah,
Harvest is like a David Lynch
horror adjacent.
This is probably also going to be a situation, Chad and Tristan, where you're like, you know what? Some of this stuff's pretty expensive. Listen, guys, if we don't get it in the first take, we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
One shot.
Yeah, this is going to be an expensive thing, but it's cool. Yeah. I've always wanted to do. We wrote a horror movie that we were going to do pre-COVID, like an actual slasher, straight up horror movie. But again, we got derailed, and maybe we'll have to return to that. I know Tristan's been talking about it.
I was going to say, I think he's right, though. You guys have 4 films, 10 years. You created this world. You can't let this be your only series. Whatever you're writing next, Tristan, or maybe 2 Pickin' Dudes becomes 3 Pickin' Dudes and 4 Pickin' Dudes, whatever the case might be. I think that the revisiting and the maturity of all 4 films, the bringing back characters from 2 to 4, you can't stop at Little Detectives being your only series. You have to afford yourself the opportunity to do it at least once more.
Well, especially because this is the first time Tristan is in a partnership with his father. They both brought creativity to this. It wasn't just like Chad saying, Tristan, come here and stand in front of this camera. It was actually Tristan partaking and putting this creative baby in front of his father,
Wow, you guys had a baby together.
Exactly, right? Yeah, we did.
And on that note, the podcast
He
is
made the
canceled.
And it's getting christened on November 16th at the Boyertown Theater.
Baptized, if you will.
So after it premieres, and perhaps there's a series of different festivals that it will go through, to the extent that you can share, what are your streaming plans for Dish Best Served Cold?
We're looking into that. We don't have a plan just yet. There are a few options. You have to kind of watch out because, like, I think there's a lot of places that charge you a ridiculous amount of money for those type of things, but it's not even that legit, But yeah, I think we're gonna spend a ridiculous amount of money doing the festivals because I think this time we're gonna go really, really far with the festival reach. And from there, we're going to look at either streaming or just regular distribution. Who knows? Maybe we'll even do like an old VHS release with all four. I don't know. It's something weird that we're going to try to do. But again, that's going to be super far because we definitely wanted to have its good festival run.
So if you do get it on multiple streaming platforms, don't do what Bob suggested earlier and change the movie every time. That was a bad idea. We don't want to revisit that.
Yeah, Bob, why would you even suggest this?
Give everyone the same version, Chad, would you?
It'll be like the like Clue, the movie Clue, that each ending is different.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, I love
one of the most quotable movies. What's this? Another door?
My crush is Madeline Kahn from the and she's obviously the girl in that movie, and I absolutely love her. Yeah, that movie's fantastic.
I can't believe no one ever remade that. That's amazing.
Oh, they need to leave it
It
alone.
was just too good. Yeah, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Chef's
Sacred.
Yeah.
Well, listen, so was Point Break, but they remade
I'm
that.
not shouting. All right, I am.
1 + 1 + 1 + 2. Yeah, it's great.
Guys, we appreciate you coming back for part 2. D, thank you for joining us. Tristan, Shelby, and Chad, thank you guys.
Thanks for having
You guys are doing a soft launch in October, but the film officially premieres mid-November in Boyertown. And D, we have the Red Corner Benefit. redcornerbenefit.org 18th. Once the film premieres and it goes through the circuit, we are going to have you guys back. We'll look forward to whatever the streaming possibilities are in the future.
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. And again, thank you, Joe, and thank you, Dee, and thank you, everybody, my wife, to everybody who has done anything, about this film, had anything to do with it whatsoever. Because, Bobby's voice is in this new one. So anybody who led anything, it means a lot to us to help it get out of our heads, basically.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to create it. Because God knows,
it was our pleasure.
We need creative people to keep doing that. Keep being creative.
Yes,
yeah, we had a ball. It was our pleasure. Thank you. Indeed, chestnutgrove.com.band. Nice. Awesome.
What can we name our band to make sure it's always going to be visible?
Dude,
I got it. Let's name it Google.
It only took me like a decade to get the Google Analytics to finally drive it to my website. So
nice.
I worked really hard for that.
Damn, you sure did.
That's awesome.
I don't think that's not a long time when you're, independent and doing it on your own and stuff like that, but it's there now. It shows up on the first page now. That's all that matters.
I just got to get somebody who's in on Wikipedia. So if you know anybody.
After you hang up, just ask ChatGPT. It'll solve it for you.
Guys, we appreciate you making some time. We can't thank you enough.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Much
Try
love.
to get this out as quickly as possible.
Cheers.